Good afternoon, everyone. We've been on one hell of a winning streak. Uh, every day in the last 10 days has been green, except today. Today actually was my worst win rate day, at least alert wise, I've ever had. Probably in the last 4.5 years. Now, it's definitely not my brightest red day, not even my brightest red day in the last few months, because the percent losses were fairly low. But as far as win rate goes, I went 0-6. Alert wise, it was 0-5. 0-5 today, as far as alerts. So we're gonna review it. But before we review this morning, we need to get context for how's the market been opening uh, over the last couple of weeks. So let's look at all the recent market opens. Let's just look on NQ just to keep things simple. And let's do the 1 minute chart. Yesterday's market open. Yesterday actually had a pretty terrible market open. Very, 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 very choppy here. And then it ended up running, but very, very, very choppy. So yesterday was not a good market open. What about the day before? Exploded straight up. Very volatile market open. Very trendy. Day before? Dumped to the downside, then shot up. Very volatile. And very decisive moves, right? Day before? Here's market open. Shot up. Day before. Exploded to the upside. Day before. Dumped to the downside, shot up, then dumped again. And I mean, I can keep going, right? Here's this day, market open, dumped. This market open was a little worse, but still green. Ran to the downside, nothing crazy. Market open the next day, shot up, dumped. The moves are smaller now. Market open this day, dumped, chopped a bit, then dumped again. And then I'll just do like 2 more days, 1 more day, just this day. Market open, dumped. So you guys see a pattern, right? The month of November, okay, so back up. The month of October had pretty market opens. Now I was gone for 2 weeks of October, so I missed out on one good week, so I hear. But a majority of October was pretty 50-50 win rate. Green, but nothing great, right? Just mild gains over the course of a week, right? Green days were small, red day was small. Trade win rate was about 50-50. That's how it was. And at the end of October, we really started picking up in volatility. And as you can see here, I mean, look at these market opens. This is crazy. So very quickly towards the end of October, when it started flipping volatile, I actually started going back to my aggressive trading style, which has worked. We have been crushing it over the last week and a half. And today, that style of market open finally ended. Now, do I think it's done? No. But that's the context, right? And as a trader, I trade the same strategy all the time. I can just choose how conservative I am with pricing and, some trade entries. But for the most part, my strategy has been the same. My primary strategy has been the same for years now, and exactly how I trade the morning has been the same, exact same for at least a year and a half since the last minor change. So that's the context of market open, okay? And market open as of late has been so volatile, you need to act quick, and that's what I'm gonna keep doing until it doesn't work, right? That's just how it goes. And eventually the market's going to shift and go against the way you've been trading. That's fine. However, today the market didn't just shift and go against the way I trade. It shifted and did the opposite of what my strategy needs it to do. This market open was the worst price action I've seen all year as far as open. As far as the pre-market context goes, I'll be bearish for this demand to break if we come back down. Otherwise, kind of looking like bullish consolidation. We're kind of chopping to the downside. I do have these pivots above. And if we do invalidate a majority of this drop right here at market open, I'll be triggered into calls. Just a half size trade though. I always enter half size at market open. And this is kind of what I'm looking at. Very likely, considering this is an uptrend, and this would be a bull flag slash falling wedge. And here's the first trade. We shot up. Okay. Let me go to my options channel now. Let's align everything. Here's the first trade. Pretty standard. What's been doing all day. Not going for a crazy PT or anything, but I did enter calls on, I believe it was QQQ. Let me check my. Yeah, it was. Filled them for pre-market high. Filled half size. I will always be half size at market open, right? Too much of an implied volatility decay risk. So this was the first trade, pretty basic, half size. Filled at 60 cents. And I stopped out. No, not on that candle. This candle, I stopped out. Now, already right away in market open, I noticed the options were being very funny. I almost stopped out here, got very close. It shot all the way back up. Thought it was going to get a chance. Was actually planning on averaging down or averaging up if we invalidate the selling wick. And then it dropped, and I stopped out right around down here. Small loss though. I mean, my entry was 60 cents and I filled at 55 cents. I think the reason why I got a decent fill was because I filled my exit in the middle, like as the buying wick was shooting up. So that's the first trade. Minus like, what is that, 9% gains or something? Or 9% loss. So that's my first trade. Attempt number 1. However, if we invalidate this drop, I'm technically triggered back in. Now, I don't have to be triggered back in. Okay, I do have an excuse not to, and it's that we're missing a new liquidity sweep. We did sweep lower lows with a buying wick, which is pretty bullish. But as far as like a major pivot sweep, or at least a semi-minor pivot sweep, we didn't get one. So that's an excuse. But keep in mind, market started opening very big candles, but here's the range of the first candle. I'm going to draw this out, okay? Here's the range. Here's the range. So far, I'm just going to draw right there so you guys can see. These yellow lines are the range of this first candle. So far, I mean, we've had 3 candles close within the range of the first candle, which is kind of crazy. So we shoot back up, and I end up filling SPX and QQQ calls. Now, keep in mind, guys, when I fill SPX and QQQ, I'm still normal sized. I just split it in half. Half in SPX, half in QQQ. I can do this because my active trader, if you guys have seen my tutorial, if you guys have not seen my tutorial, go in my alert channel in any Discord on desktop. Go in the little search bar and search for in my alert channel, and then look up the word tutorial, and you'll see a couple tutorial videos. One of them is my thinkers from setup. So I filled half size in both. So this is one normal size position, okay? Last position was half size, tiny red. Unfortunately, right after I filled this, it got this big selling wick. So I filled kind of near the top of the selling wick. And the reason why I filled them both, because I have no idea which one's going to be stronger. ES is the one kind of rebounding out of demand. So I'm half size. Well, overall, I'm close to full size, right? But I still plan on averaging down slash averaging up. Now, with this trade in specific, normally, when I enter SPX and QQQ, it's just one full-size position, half and half, right? This trade, though, I wanted to save room to average down in case we do sweep this low, or average up if we invalidate this selling wick up here. So for me, it was a little less than half my trade size in each SPX and QQQ. So together, they're roughly at 0.75 of a normal trade, which means if I add, it's probably going to be like a position and a half, okay? Which I knew that, and I kind of purposefully did it because the odds are very high of it getting there, right? If this morning is going to be anything like the last 20 mornings we've seen. So there you go. So we come down, and I don't average down. I don't average down because we didn't sweep a lower low. That's what I'm looking for, right? And as far as the risk to reward, it's not a great risk to reward either, which is why, not full. I did add on this trade though. Okay. Or on this candle. Because not only did we get a pullback, we invalidated the pullback. This looks fantastic. Fantastic. Very high odds. And the real pivot I'm going for is up here, okay? Not this one. The real pivot I'm going for is up here on NQ and up here on ES. So I didn't end up really averaging up much. I averaged up on QQQ, not so much on SPX. My trade size is roughly, I remember it was like 1.25x or something. So not like 1.5x, but it was a little bit bigger than a full size position. And I got hornswoggled again. So I stopped out, and that was a bigger loss. Between the two, it was one like 1.25 to 1.4x trade. I just remember the dollar amount, it was under 1.5, so I don't know the exact math. But this was like a minus 20% loss, something like that. The losses weren't very big today. I think this one might have been the minus 18%. It was like 18 to 20% loss, but it's on a little bit bigger size position. So first loss was minus, I'll just draw this out. Half size, minus like 8%, 1, 2, 5. This was like all rounded up to minus 20 is probably what it was. So that's where I'm at right now on the day. And keep in mind, these candles are all still closing within the first candle's range. I'll just draw a white line so it doesn't, I keep confusing myself, making it look like a pivot. All right, you know what? Here, I can actually just, okay, that is ugly. That is one ugly tool. I never use that tool. All right, hang on. All right, that's the range of the first candle right here. So, you know what? If we sweep a lower low, or if we come back up, I'm triggered back in. Okay, I'm triggered back in. And now, at this point, when this trade stopped out, I told you guys, I'm like, ooh. Well, I told you guys before I even started trading, I'm like, you know what? Today's kind of feeling like a red day. It's been so many green days in a row. I really want to finish this week strong. It's probably going to be a red day, right? Just gambler's fallacy. We've won too many. I think my last red day was like on Wednesday or something. And the wins have been very good lately, except yesterday. I had one win of 20% them left. But it was right here that I'm like, today may be a terrible day because that trade should not be stopping out. That is a very likely trade. And some days, you know, if you make a living betting on the most likely outcome, there's going to be plenty of days where the most unlikely outcome happens multiple times in a row, right? You can go into a casino and you see people go on huge streaks all the time. It's totally possible to win 5 blackjack hands in a row with doubles downs and splits and so on and so forth. Hell, it's very possible to win 6 in a row, right? If you're a good player, because odds are like 48 to 49%. Doesn't mean anything's wrong with the casino. The casino's just got to take it. It's due to happen, and then they'll make it back up. Now, obviously, those streaks happen a lot more in the casinos, like on things like blackjack, because my win rate and my probabilities are much better than 50%, or like 70 to 75. But it was right here that I'm like, ooh, today may be a bad day. Regardless, just going to execute my strategy. Whatever happens, happens. Well, this happens, and I have to get right back into calls. We swept liquidity on ES. We're skyrocketing it up on NQ. I have to have to get back in, and every time I get in, it's even more and more likely. And keep in mind, these candles are still closing within this first candle's range. This is crazy that we're having so many candles close within this range. Same thing here. So normal size position between both, right? So half in SPX, half in QQQ. QQQ looked a little stronger, but my thing was ES is the one that swept liquidity. NQ didn't. It just swept liquidity. It didn't sweep this pivot. It's looking okay. That's pretty much wraps right there. I stopped out when this green candle invalidated. Never mind, there wasn't a green candle. I misread the screenshot. Wait a minute. Oh, I took the screenshot while this was a green candle. So this was a green candle. And I stopped out on this candle. Now, the SPX stop loss was late. TQ was a little early because he has flipped. But yeah, this continues being an absolute travesty. And the really shitty thing is, the really crappy thing is I have to get in. Like, it's my strategy. We're sweeping liquidity. We're bullishly chopping. I'm bullish for the pivot above. Like, this is a trade that I take every morning. And most of the days I do fantastic. The reason why I've done fantastic so recently is because of that. Is because of this kind of stuff. So finally, after 15 minutes of trading, we get our first candle to close outside of the opening candles range, the extremities, right? So that is nuts. That is by far the worst open that I've seen in a minute. Just complete barcode, terrible. And it wouldn't be so bad if I wasn't already trading a little bit more aggressive because of price action lately. And it wouldn't be so bad if this happened in a different context, right? The context of this chop, and that's the bell for market close. The context of this chop is bullish. Like, I'm bullish for this pivot up here. I keep getting triggered in too. So it's 0-3. Didn't take very big losses there, though. The calls were already undervalued at market open, is what I've noticed. The puts had so much implied volatility, so much open interest on the puts that I've seen. So the calls weren't really stopping out much. I mean, this should have been a bigger loss, but it wasn't. The reason why the last trade was 20% was because I did average up, right? So it hurt my average. But SPX, my calls were minus 15%. And QQQ, my calls were 19% on a 1x position. So first trade, second trade. We'll just average it out to minus 18% is what I did. So I'm 0-3 at the moment, and I can't really enter puts. Can't really enter puts. I'm going against demand. It's still bullishly chopping. I can't enter puts. Well, we start dumping. And then we shoot back up. I have to get in here. I have to get in here. But by this point, it's so comical that I've like lost hope. So it's like, you know, the analogy that I used was freaking from the boys Homelander, which is like, let's light this candle. You know, sure, I'll lose everything, but then I'll have nothing else to lose. Of course, I'm still using appropriate sizing in relation to my account, so I'm not harming anything. It's just like, ah, man, the win rate sucks, and I purposely don't care about win rate anymore because it hurts my trading and hurts everyone else's trading. I used to be a huge win rate fanatic. As far as alerting, I don't care anymore because I make a lot more money now, and I just care about making money, as all of you should. But, you know, when I have people taking my trades, and a lot of people, most people in my community don't even follow my trades, but they're in the same trades because they trade the same way I do because it works. We're all just getting hornswoggled, right? But anyways, I have to get back in. This trade is the most likely trade so far, okay? So I hop right back in, and I filled the calls again here, okay? So this is where we run into issues, okay? I filled 1x calls here, SPX and QQQ. Filled SPX at 2.95, QQQ at 92 cents. I am willing, because it looks so damn good, I'm willing to average up on this trade. And I would have just entered heavier here if this day hasn't been terrible so far. If we just invalidate this, or just if we get to here, right, we invalidate more than the entire body of this previous red candle, both ES and NQ, I'll average up a little bit. Because not only do I think it's going to get the PT now, I think we're going to, if we can get up here, we're going to run. Because that's a lot of shorts constantly getting in the market and validating the buyers. But the more time shorts get invalidated, more likely it is for a short squeeze. But you're starting to notice my arch nemesis of price action. Volatile chopping down, right? Not so much chopping up, but chopping down is like my arch nemesis of price action. I can't enter shorts, and I am naturally leaning a little bit more bullish, especially because it's a bullish market, so that makes sense. So I keep having to get in calls. Anyways, this is a phenomenal looking trade. Honestly, I'd take all these trades tomorrow. Yeah, I'd take all these trades tomorrow. Maybe not this one as much or the first one of the day. No, I'd take the first one. The second one, eh. If I were committed to trading super conservative, I would debate about the second one. The others are a no-brainer. And if I'm not trading conservative, if I'm trading aggressive like I have been lately, or more medium, then it's a no-brainer as well. I'm getting in. So all the trades so far are great. This is by far the one with the best odds, okay? Terrible start like all the other trades. And then we shoot up here. Now I actually averaged down a little bit early. Sorry, average up a little bit early. Yeah, average up a little bit early, right at the end of this candle, in the beginning of the next one. Because my calls chopped on SPX, my average didn't change. My fill on QQQ though was $1, so my average on QQQ calls went up to 96 cents. Beautiful, right? I take profits on QQQ here, but this isn't just the move I'm looking for. ES needs PT as well. On top of it, ES is a perfect double top, and if you guys know anything about perfect double tops, they break. The odds of them breaking within like 30 minutes of forming are like a solid 75 to 85% chance. And break within the same day, like 90% if it's a major perfect double top with a decent distance in between. Very few of them don't break, right? So I trim my QQQ calls, but then I realize, oh, ES has a perfect double top. ES has a perfect double top. So I don't sell a dime of my SPX position. And I leave a decent position left in QQQ because I'm still bullish. Now, I've done this countless times this year. I don't recall a single time this year where this lost me money. Obviously, it's due to lose you money at some point, right? That's why you can't ever be attached to your trades. It'll always be your most confident trades and your biggest losses. So this setup hasn't lost me any money this year, which means it's due, but obviously that's not what I'm thinking about during that. So I don't sell a dime on my SPX position. And keep in mind, I averaged up. So I was in a full-size QQQ position and a full-size SPX position, right? So I was heavy. Now I trimmed QQQ a decent amount, but still at least had like a third of my position left, something like that. I mean, I got like 30% gains here or something. It was actually pretty nice. And I told you guys, I'm very bullish on this pullback. And as the second candle started, I said, if this pullback invalidates, I'm adding even more on SPX. And then this happens. Absolutely pitiful. Are you kidding me? I didn't stop out here. I stopped out right here. No, not this. Here. So that sucked because I gave back all my gains on my QQQ trade because the contract's chopped and it fell a ton. So the QQQ trade ended up being a net like 0%. I think it might have been green by like it was literally like 0%, like net. I don't even remember what it was because obviously you can't just see that in Thinkorswim, right? I just see what I entered all the contracts for, what I sold some of them for, what I sold some of the rest of them for, and SPX was a full size trade. Okay, so I got 0% on QQQ, and SPX was a full size trade. I got minus 32% here. Frickin' pitiful. First time that's happened all year. And you know what hurts the most about it? If ES just got a little bit higher, not only would I have flipped today bright green, not bright green. I would have made back all of the losses and flipped today very mild green. But I'm 100% triggered into puts right here. 2 NQ demand. We swept liquidity in supply and validated majority of the move. And ES looks weak. I would be in puts in both to demand. I would have to. But because it missed and put in the perfect double top, now I'm stuck with my bullish bias. And I can't fill my puts because I'm stuck in, not really back holding the trade because I'm still honoring my stop loss, but no, I got freaking hornswoggled, and so did everyone else. So now I'm stuck still being bullish. That's 4 times in a row got freaking hornswoggled. And that's what happened. Now there's a perfect double top there. And I tell you guys, look, I'm going to have to get back in if I get back up. If it comes back up. I have to get back in. I cannot, like, now I really have to because the perfect double top is there. I really have to. So if we come back up, I have to get back in. NQ sweeps low a day. And we start coming right back up. I don't fill in this candle. I fill at the close of this one. I have to. Like, I have to. We swept demand. We swept this liquidity on NQ. The only thing going against us is this liquidity sweep. I have to get in. So I hopped back in SPX and QQQ. Maybe 5th time is the charm, right? And at this point, I'm expecting this next supply. If this breaks, there have been so much short suppression in the market that if we're able to break this freaking range, it should run pretty big. That's my bias. And I told you guys that's my bias. So I fill. And I say on this trade, or before this trade, I'm like, we'll be triggered in back. I'll be triggered back in one more time if we continue all the way back up. Otherwise, I'll lock it in today and review this morning's price action later. And then I filled SPX and KQQ 2.65 and 0.86. And the last words I said was, how about one last hornswoggle for the road? Because I'm not feeling like any of these trades are going to work out at this point. But I'm triggered in, right? And I have to trade the full hour. Yeah. So, got smoked immediately and stopped out. Actually, stopped out on this candle here. Not a big percent loss, though. I filled at 65 cents on QQQ and 2.1 on SPX. I didn't do the math. I think that's 19 or 18% on SPX and roughly 19%, 18% on. So yeah, I filled another one. We'll just round it up to minus 20% because fees and commissions. Another 1x trade because half in each. And I was going to average up too. I was getting ready to average up big right here. It didn't get there though. Minus 20%. Oh, and freaking 5. And you know what the funny thing is? I'm still bullish. If we have to come up one more time, I have to get back in. But at this point, I'm like, all right, that's 5 losses. It'll take me 2 medium green days to make this up, right? If you actually look at the percentages, it's not bad at all, right? You have, I guess I'll write the percent. Minus 8% on half size position. So in total, it's minus 50 minus, let's just call that 66, minus 70, minus 90% today. Today's losses were somewhat equivalent to a minus, round up 100% full size trade or plus 100% full size trade, right? It's not that hard to do, right? Conservatively speaking, that's 2 green days. I'm done alerting now. I'm unwilling to alert more, but I told you guys, if this comes back up, I have to get in one more time. Okay, so as far as alerts, this is done. Surprise, it happened. It happened before 8:30, so I personally hopped in one more time. I didn't alert my contracts or anything like that. A lot of, with how choppy this was, I couldn't really alert anyone. But keep in mind, look at this bullish chop. This is price action winding up. This is so bullish. This is such a bullish setup. Okay, so this is my personal last trade. Last chance I'm giving it. It was up like 30 or 40% for a second. It was up a lot and then immediately just dumped. So absolutely freaking smoked. Now I only sold for 10% on that trade. I filled at 2.5 and I stopped out at 2.25. So I really don't know why it was that small of a loss. Probably because the freaking puts are overbought and everyone's loading into calls. But yeah, that was my final trade. Minus 10%. Unfortunate, right? But there's like, what the hell am I going to do? You know, I back every single one of those trades I've taken or I took this morning. Absolutely nothing I can do. Now, futures, keep in mind, going 0-6 is hard on my psychology, especially when that hasn't happened before in alerts, like ever. Of course, there's been mornings with worse price action, but perfect storm, worst case scenario price action morning, which is, I mean, this is a 1 out of every 60 trading mornings, 1 out of every 50. 2% of all mornings are like this bad. But the context, what we talked about in the beginning, right? How volatile the mornings have been lately, how aggressive I've needed to be to capture the moves in the morning. Kind of the perfect time to put this into where I take 6 losses. Now, the size management was okay. I was thankful that I was able to close this KikiQ trade out at pretty much break even, or else it would have been another loss and it would have been much bigger. But as far as the trading itself, it was perfect. It's just one of those times where you're just super unlucky, right? And I tell you guys all the time, the reason you feel like you only ever get unlucky trading is because you're too busy blowing your accounts and breaking your rules and being emotional when you're unlucky. So that by the time you are lucky, you don't have an account to trade anymore because you're too busy blowing it when you're unlucky, right? If there's a time to overtrade, it's not when you're unlucky, it's when you're lucky, right? You shouldn't do it at all. So this doesn't really affect me at all. It's so rare that who cares, right? It's due. Everything is due eventually to happen, right? Now, unfortunately, though, it still deteriorates my psychology. And with my futures, well, futures was an issue. Futures, I didn't do very well. I finished the day break even. It should have been green. I made a big mistake in the beginning and took an unnecessary red trade that my mechanical strategy I wasn't actually triggered into, but I didn't pay attention to all the way back here. But so today was a red day on futures, a fairly big red day, but I finally did revenge my options trades. Right here, I did enter longs here all the way to supply, and it did actually work, and a lot of people did too. But as you can see, futures was still extremely choppy and messy and all of the above. Should have been green. I'm not going to get into it right now, though. But that did work out. And we did get the move I was looking for. It really sucks that I couldn't get the move I was looking for this morning when I was looking for it. And it really sucks that I was too busy losing money looking for the move. Because this is the exact move I wanted the entire day. But unfortunately, it just didn't happen until the second hour, which is rare, right? I mean, we chopped downwards, including some of the pre-market chop. I mean, this was like a lot. 3 hours of chopping downwards. Very rare. But yeah, that was my morning. So as far as options trading, I don't think it's a bad morning at all. As far as execution psychology, so on and so forth, it's just price action's terrible. And if you can get to the point where you blame all your red days and all your terrible days on just price action, and you yourself execute it flawlessly, you're good to go forever, right? And if you're not at that point, all your time and energy should be getting to that point, or building a strategy that's even worth executing. But type in chat. Do you guys have any questions regarding the absolute bullying I endured for the first hour of market open this morning? No comments, no questions, anything like that. I'm pretty sure you guys got abused too. Most people were pretty red this morning. It was a beatdown. But yeah, it was freaking terrible. But for all you people that are not in my community or don't understand how it's possible for someone to lose that many times in a row, well, there you go. Now you know, right? And unfortunately, I would do it all again tomorrow, except the odds would be infinitely better or infinitely more likely to play out very differently than they happened today. Like I said, today was very close to being a green day. If ES didn't put in this perfect double top and just got a couple points higher, it would have actually finished green day despite terrible price action. So perfect storms happen. Don't get blown away. It was so bad. I got smoked. That's unfortunate, Breeze. Sorry to hear that. But all right, that is it for me. What I'm gonna do is save this recording. I'll upload it, and yeah, if any of you guys watching leave any comments, I will do my best to respond. But people don't usually leave comments, so. And yeah, that is true. Lone, we are still green on the week, and that on futures as well. All right, I will. All you YouTube people, I'll see you guys later, and I'll let you guys know. For everyone that's not on YouTube and here, I'll ping you guys when I send out the link to this recording.